Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so hi guys, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Musmala Olabilu, and I am the community manager of Texas Quarters. So um, so who we have? We are the most active software testing community in Africa, and we are focused on empowering, aspiring, and practicing product quality engineers with resources, support, and mentorship that is required for them to succeed in their career. So we have our program, we have the office hour, which happens every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Meanwhile, if you have not been joining our office hour, you've been missing a lot because we brought in a new way to make this program be interesting, this session to be interesting for people so that they can come together and ask questions from experts. Yeah. So we have the Friday study body. We have the webinars, which is one of the things that we are doing today, and we have other things that happens on Friday, like the last Friday of the month. We do watch movies. We do comedy and fun nights. Yeah, we have the global AMA fireside chats first Saturday of every month. Yeah. So this case we bring in an expert room for people to ask questions. That is, ask me anything. Ask questions about personal life, about software testing, whatever you want to ask about. Yeah. We bring in experts that has nothing less than 10 years of experience. We also have local community quarterly hangout here. So we had this year we had the APEC and we have the NSTW not too long. So yeah, and next year is here and almost here already. It is here already, and we are getting ready for the APTEC. You don't want to miss the APTEC for 2025. We have the scholarship bootcamp. Yeah, in this community, we do have scholarship bootcamp sometimes, and we make sure that everybody participates. Whereby we make sure that we introduce Chester quarters, and we introduce software testing to new people that are coming in. Okay. So I guess I'm sorry about the noise. I'm sorry about the noise. Sorry, as the noise reduces. Let's move on. Okay, as the if the nurse has been posting the supervisor at the moment. Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay, let me continue. So we have the mentorship whereby the reading experts, as I said, we have experts in mentorship that mentor junior testers and all. We have the annual gathering, as I said before, we had the APEC and we have the NSPW. We have the testathon, that is testers coming together to test applications to make sure that the application be better. Okay, so we have the IG, LinkedIn, and X Live. Here we are available in those places. So we are going to make sure I'm going to make sure that those are available for us during the course of this webinar. We have the fun comedy and comedy night. I already spoke about that. Whereby we come together, we watch movies, or we had fun. Make sure that we have fun. We have the test merchandise. Yeah, we have the test merchandise. So let us move to the next. We have the new members intro. I'm very sure that there are some new members that joined us since last week. Last week we had some. Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. We appreciate that you're here, and I promise you that coming here does not mean you're just going to connect, but you're going to grow in your software testing or your personal life. I trust you're here to learn and to grow. So let us introduce our speaker for today. We have Ogenepa Palopo Abasa. Yeah, she's a quality assurance engineer and she'll be speaking about bias detection in AI-driven testing systems. So yeah, let us go to the intro. Ogene Palopo Abasa is a seasoned quality assurance pro- professionals with over 6 years of experience in software testing and process improvement. She is dedicated to advancing innovation and operational ex- excellence and consistently supports teams in delivering reliable solutions, a strong culture of quality. She brings strong expertise in software testing methodologies, quality processes, and defect management. She has a sharp analytical mindset, a refined eye for detail, and a solid understanding of both SDLC and STLC. Her work span black box and white box testing, manual and automated testing, and the creation of effective test plans and cases with experience across Agile Scrum, Kanban, and industrial industries such as e-commerce, financial services, and retail. Passionate about excellence, she is committed to delivering high quality, reliable software. Her skill set includes Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid, Cata, Catal, Catalon, Cypress, data driven, and POM frameworks. Jira, okay, Jira, Trello, Bugzilla, and so on. Yeah. Um, it's very nice to have you here, Abasa. If you can hear me, you can unmute your mic and speak. It's very nice having you here. Hi, Abasa.
Yes, hi. Hi, guys. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today.
Good evening. Yeah. You can share your screen if you want to. It's very nice having you here.
Okay, all right. So I think I'll just kick off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for taking our time to join in today. So, thank you once more. I think we've already done like a job just explaining introduction. So you can call me Abasa. Yeah, the other part is my native name, so that's equally fine. So I'll just dive right into it so we can kick off. I think we spent a lot of time waiting for a bit before the meeting started, so we can just start. So today's topic, we'll be talking about bias detection in AI-driven testing system, exploring how AI testing tools can equally produce bias results and how QA can mitigate against that. So one thing I would like for this session to be is very interactive, right? So I want us to do this together, very interactive. You can note out your questions. At the end of the session, we'll definitely take them and we can equally discuss them. Just brainstorm on ideas. We're all QA professionals, so it's nice meeting everyone. Yeah, so I'll start first with just talking about what is AI in software testing. I know for now, for every one of us on this call, I know AI is not it's not something new. It's not the first time we're hearing it. But we're just going to be talking about, how AI works in software testing process. So AI in software testing is basically the application of artificial intelligence, as the name is AI, and machine learning to enhance and automate our testing process, making it faster, more accurate, and more efficient. This is just bringing in, of course, taking all of our machine learning AI intelligence and putting it into our testing process, our testing flow to make it more efficient and more time saving. Save us more time, more accuracy, make our work more accurate, more faster, and all. So that's the basic description of AI in software testing. I'll just move on to the next slide. So here, these are just a few of how AI help in our software testing process. One, it enhances our speed, accuracy, and intelligence in software testing. So all of the time that we take in running all of our manual testing, from like the test planning, writing all of your test case, with AI, introduction of AI, it helps to speed all of that process flow and create an entire documentation for us. Of course, it's more accurate, can cover some things that we do not even foresee, some scenarios and some ideas that we do not foresee in the course of testing. So this is one way that AI helps us. Two, AI supports testing automation, right? Predicting all of our defects that we could get while automating all of our bugs, and it helps us make smarter decisions. Help us make smarter decisions. Then three, AI also helps us in creating test cases, edge cases, and in acceleration of all of our software testing life cycle. So like I mentioned, all of our test planning, to breaking down all of our requirements, of course, breaking down the requirements, going through your requirement, planning your tests, creating up your test cases, your edge cases. AI equally helps us in that entire software testing life cycle. Another thing that AI does is promote and increase all of our efficiency and accuracy. Now, with automating all of our repetitive tasks, right, it frees us QA engineers to focus on more complex tasks like test planning. So with the introduction of AI, we have time to say, oh, we have time to do other testing activities rather than us planning, writing. Like, I can know that usually QAs, for us to have a detailed tough test cases, we can take a lot of time in writing over 100 test cases, right? And that takes hours and it's really time consuming. So some of all those flows, AI could help us automate it, and then it frees us to do other testing activities. So I'll just get right into it to discuss how AI tools can produce biased results. So the first thing first is the core mechanism. Now this describes how these tools learn. So most AI tools rely on machine learning, and the training data is biased, which impacts these models from understanding software quality objectively. Now, AI produces patterns based on the data they are trained on. Now, this is, I think this is very, very clear, but we can dive right into it, right? To say, I know for now, companies right now go into building their own indigenous AI tools, in-house AI tools. They train these AI models, so the results and the data that have been fresh back from the AIs are now streamed to whatever information that they have fed this machine with. For us QAs, I can say, oh, let's say our typical ChatGPT. So we're going on in there to say, oh, I need I need test data for, I'll make it very, very easy. So I need test data. I'm trying to test particular scenario that depends on the gender. So it's gender dependent. So I want like names for girls, lots of names for women. I can just put in there as first name, last name, and that automates my entire flow. I know basic thing. AI can go in to start talking about Cynthia, Rita, Deborah, names that are, I would say names that are pure English names. I won't go like common. So pure English names, typical English names. Now this is because these machines have been trained in that way. So most of our machines, like ChatGPT, for example, I know it's not an indigenous AI tool that was created maybe like in Nigerian or somebody from one particular part of the country that has used one form of language. So with all of the training that it has gotten, so maybe like British, English names, these are the data that are fed into this AI tools. So these are the kind of data that this AI will produce to us. So based on that type of training that they have gotten, it makes the information they give us a bit biased because it's streamlined to, I would say, limited information, right? Like limited data, just general overall data. Some are not very specific to our own needs. I know I can't tell my AI right now to give me like some, I can say some Igbo names, right? I might come up with something, but yeah, because we've not really trained that AI with those data, it will just give us the data that it also can, it is trained with and can fetch. Excuse me. So another thing is the limited coverage of edge cases. So specific scenarios of testing tool bias, AI tool may focus heavily on common paths that are learned from this data. So they're ignoring like rare but critical scenarios, leading to false confidence in system quality. Now for writing your test cases, right? If I go to my Robo, sometimes I use Robo that's for Jira or like my Gemini, and I'm telling Gemini to please just give me test cases for login. No, let's say for onboarding, right? So test cases for sign up, common sign up page. And it's going to give me every random thing, not random, just streamlined flow of, oh, you click on the sign up button, you enter this name, you enter that name, you go in there, you do all that and all that. So now let's break it down to us building a product that is streamlined to a particular language. Let's say for Yoruba, because I know of recent, I tested an application that just streamlined to Yoruba language, right? You can switch to English, but the major language is Yoruba. So I'm going to say, okay, tell me how I can, like an onboarding flow for testing this Yoruba application, right? So with that, I know that my AI can give me all of the regular onboarding flow. But going into now telling me, so in Yoruba, gender, female means this, maybe like a wood means something, right? On that onboarding flow. So specific, I'm choosing my location, I'm choosing my village, and everything is all in Yoruba. There are some of those flows that AI would not give to me. Those flows for onboarding will not be given to me. This is also because of how it has been trained, the scenarios and everything that has been given to this AI to learn with, right? So what we garbage in mostly is what AI garbage out. That's two. Then another thing is data drift leading to misaligned predictions. So when software or user behavior involves an AI to trained on outdated data can misinterpret these new patterns and produce inaccurate assessment. So this also speaks to the fact that the society right now is evolving. A lot of tools, a lot of processes improvements are already coming in bit by bit, and of course, it's taking over the entire tech field and system. So with this evolving flow that we are in currently right now, evolving process, AIs can produce results for us that are outdated, because back to the top, that is how they are learned, that is how they were trained, those are the models they were trained, those are the data that they have. Except somebody keeps going there, which I know that most AI tool companies are trying to do, right? Go there to feed them with updated information, train these models, then of course we can get this updated data. But sometimes, or most times, AI can also produce this outdated information and inaccurate assessments for us when we tend to use them during our testing process. So we'll just get right into it. How can QA mitigate this bias when we come across it? So one key thing here for me that I always like to tell everybody, that I put at the top of everything that I do, is procure your domain knowledge. So now QAs are encouraged to acquire all knowledge, ideas, and information needed to perform all tasks effectively. So now with this knowledge, spotting all biased information becomes easier. I tell my colleague that I know AI is taking over the world right now, but no matter how we automate these flows, we allow AI do everything for us, we cannot let go of human knowledge. We can't let go of human interaction. So now this is where we humans are now higher, hormonal greater than these machines. So for us to use it, we have to have a definite, solid domain knowledge. So when an AI is giving you this information, you're going through it and then you're knowing like, oh, okay, so I understand this thing because I know it before. He's just trying to give you like some more ideas, breaking down, and sometimes it actually brings out like some complex responses. So if you don't have a domain knowledge, you're already lost. When all of these responses comes back, all of these test scenarios and everything that AI fetches returns for you when you try to use them. So with the domain knowledge, we can equally filter to say, oh, okay, I know this already, so I understand this. This is readable. You can break it down into bits and pieces, which equally help you in your testing process. So two, we have to perform human audits on AI output. So regularly create a structure in place to review the responses that this AI have generated. So I'll just bring like a practical example, something that happened to me. So I had like this very, I would say, a 2-3 page documentation that was shared with me, right, to create like my test cases and all. So what I did was I just populated it on Gemini. Please, can you tell me create out test cases from this flow? And then I put it in there. So the responses that I got were a lot, like complex responses. Responses became, I know that from that 3 pages, I got more than 150 test scenarios, right? But what I had to do was, I went back again and then I asked AI, because I could see that when I read most of the test cases that was given to me, they were mostly streamlined, like maybe the page 1 and the page 2. So he did not take notes, or maybe did not pick notes. I'm just going like, and he did not take note of the page 3, or maybe skipped it, so I wouldn't know what happened at that point. So I asked, did you go through all of the pages, all of the documents attached? I have 3 pages. Did you fetch it? And he says, no, I only fetched from page 1 and 2. And I said, okay, I uploaded the page 3 again separately, and then gave me like data from it. So performing all of these human audits on the information that AI produces will help us understand right? So help us kill the bias of whatever information, help us streamline the information and filter the data that we're getting from our AI outputs. Then 3, audit your test data. Now, do not rely solely on auto-generated data. Manually inject diverse data sets like names, addresses, language into your AI-driven test suite. So we bring us back to how they were trained. So they're mostly trained like English, English, English. I'm just going to take this for example. English, English, English data. So if I'm going in there to say I want an indigenous, let me break it back to my Yoruba application that I recently tested, which was a lot for me. I mean, that was a lot of learning curve. I had to go into understanding some things I didn't even know exist in Yoruba, because I had to ensure that whatever thing the system is translating is equally correct. So with all of that, we can just go back to AI and we can say, oh, I want test cases for testing a Yoruba application, for example, like a login, and I want you to streamline these names, so like Yoruba names, right? Specify the Yoruba names that you want, maybe some tiny names in there, and then see the data that is being fetched from AI. So entering, populating it with some specific data, right? And trying to tweak the responses that you get, from our AI response, right? Trying to tweak all of the responses that you get from these AI machines can equally help us in avoiding all of these bias and of course all of these errors that we're getting when we use AI in testing our test process. Then 4, I'll talk about challenge the model, right? So a QA should specifically prompt AI test generators for edge cases, negative scenarios, diverse user personnel, rather than just generic user flows. This is to mean that this is to test the AI trained data and its artifact. So let me go back to what I did when I populated all of the requirement documents I was given. So you can prompt them, challenge the model. Oh, are you sure this is correct? If you're telling me when you click on a particular button, click on the login button, you enter your email and address. What if I tell AI, imagine this application is for the login flow is their phone number, and the phone number you have to enter your country code. Now you're challenging the model, you're telling the model, I want you to write a test case around this rather than giving me a generic email and password. And that's cool. So AI can go back and then bring out those, try to get all of the data and then bring something usable for you. You can equally go there to say, oh, on this application, I'm not just going my login flow, it's not just enter my email and my password. I have to enter an OTP that is sent to my email. So write my test cases around this, write my edge cases around this. And that is us challenging the model, also trying to tweak the model to give us the results and responses that we need rather than all of the generic response that we could equally get at the end of the day. So yeah, that is it. I'll just throw it open for questions. If you have any questions or clarity, we can just discuss at this point.
Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you. So, if you have a question, please, you can kindly raise up your hand to speak, or you can drop your question on the message box. Thank you, guys. So let me ask questions before people say. Thank you very much for that. The first question I'll have to ask is, since AI can inherit bias from training data, what early warning signs should QA engineer look for to detect bias in AI generated test cases or prediction?
Oh, please, can you take that again? I think I lost your subpoint.
Okay. I said since AI models can inherit bias from training data, what
Yeah.
early warning signs should QA engineers look for to detect bias in AI generated test cases or predictions?
Okay, so one key early sign we can look at is the responses that we get. So sometimes, or most times, what I do, I have like, of course, we have access to like multiple AI machines that we could use. I pass in my questions on 2 AI machines at the same time, and then I check the responses that I get. The responses are so generic, like, oh, so click on this button, you do this, enter your password, or for let's say for your password, an entire testing flow that requires you to set up an entire onboarding flow that requires you to enter some specific, characters in your password as your password, right? If I see that ChatGPT is giving me same data, same responses, excuse me, as much as Gemini, then I just know that, oh, so these are some generic response that I'm getting. So then I go ahead to just challenge the model. Oh, if I have this, what can you give me? If the button is hidden and the user cannot easily find like a login button, even after you've entered your email and then your password, just like you stated in the responses you gave me, what else can we do? And you're like, oh, okay, then we can do X, Y, Z. So those kind of signs, when you see some of the responses that are big generic, that are questionable, those are the things that we can pick out to say, oh, this is a bias, and we can challenge the model.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that. The next question. I know that maybe there are a lot of people that might ask questions, but they are so shy to speak. But yeah, let me just continue asking the questions that I have so that it can be easier for people to come up to speak. So yeah, so another question I would like to ask is how can a QA team build a feedback loop that helps improve the AI model over time?
How
Okay,
can they
let
be?
me. How can a QA team build a feedback loop that helps improve the AI model over time?
Oh, when you say feedback, are you improving an in-house built AI model, or you're improving like a generic AI model like ChatGPT or Gemini? Is this for an in-house
Well,
AI model?
yes, more like improving an AI, yeah.
Okay. So for this, that would work, but I know that the fear we have most times when we use all of this AI tool is exposure to our data, right? So I'm not going to encourage anyone to go in there and you're passing in your company name, company information, even your company email address, right? Because that is you equally feeding these AIs with data that they will use as responses when others still try to query them, right? So I would say for us to particularly build like an AI model, to get feedback on how you can build it, you can stick to generic things that we can feed this AI with. But I would not encourage anyone to feed an AI like a generic AI, right? Open air with data that they have that they've gotten from their organizations. But if you can, that's so risky. I'm not sure I want anyone to do that. So except it's an in-house AI tool, then that's fine. You can feed it with all the information that you have. So like, a friend of mine, the company they built an AI tool where they needed like risks and compliance guys to come feed it with different information. So what happens is they wouldn't want anybody to like an onboarding. It's a bit complicated. So let's say companies come to onboard, and while you're onboarding, they just want, of course, all of that data, their models, they're coming through to tell you, oh, these are the for your type of company, these are the compliance data that you need to give us. These are the kind of company information, your CAC, your TIM, your corporate certificate of incorporation, beneficiary, stuff like that. So that was an AI built tool in-house. They fed and trained that model to know all of the documents. So when someone is coming to upload this documentation, they already know what should be contained in and let's say certificate of beneficial ownership, right? You come to the company this, company that, a director this, a director that. So the AI can easily fetch out and filter out, which also limits all of the human interaction, going through all of the documents again and all. So AI does it for them. So that's an inbuilt AI model. But for a public owned AI model, I would not advise anyone to feed it with your company information, your personal data.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. Yeah. So okay. One more question before leave it up to someone else. Okay. What are the limitations you see when teams rely too heavily on AI for execution? Like, what are the limitations you see? Okay.
So what are the limitations we see when we do what?
when things rely too heavily on AI for text creation.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, got that. So some of the limitations are, I would say, the complexity of the responses that we get, because I have typically tried using AI to fetch test scenarios of testing a POS, right? That was a fintech application to a POS build. I want you to test how the responses I will get when a user tries to withdraw particular money via a particular POS using a type of card. I kind of streamlined it and made it generic. And the type of responses that this AI gave to me was, yeah, it was over the moon. So you're talking about something like BIN, being, you're checking, there were a lot. So when we use AI, we can see that the response that we get, most times they are really, really complex. And I can tell myself that if you cannot humanly interpret it, nobody else can interpret it. And I know for every one of us, we're not going to be in our organizations forever. So you want to make it easier, right? Readable, that anybody that picks it will understand what you meant in that test scenarios and the edge cases that you've written, right? So one limitation is all of the complexity that it gives us. That would encourage us to always have all the domain knowledge, like your human understanding, your human interaction cannot be left out when it comes to us using AI, no matter what, no matter how important or how specific you think that AI works, you still need that domain and human knowledge, right? So AI sometimes can complicate a lot of things. So giving you for just one particular ticket, putting in one acceptance criteria, and you're getting like over 15 test cases. And then you're streamlining like, oh, this is not important, this is not testable, this is not humanly testable, right? So there's a machine. So I would always encourage us to look at all those complexities and always try to break them down. If you can read them, fine. If they're the ones that you can't read, you do not even understand, this is not doable, this is not an edge case that will ever work at the time, right? That will occur at the time. You can always stroke them out.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And thank you very much. I really want to ask, when do you think a student should stop uh should stop using AI? Because when they are too used to it, they might not be able to answer simple questions when they go through maybe when they get an interview. When do you think a student should really stop using AI and maybe use their senses and try to work for themselves, like work with their own?
Okay, when to stop? That is difficult a bit. I won't say when to stop. I know sometimes, let me swear, as lazy as I am, if I have to respond to an email, I can just use AI, please tell me what to write. This is what the person said, and this is what I'm trying to respond to. Right. So I think while the world is right now, we cannot eliminate the use of AI. We can't eliminate the use of these machines. And it's going to keep improving. It will get worse. So for one thing, I always advise everyone, my colleagues, right, also on those calls, like my fellow colleagues, to please get your domain knowledge. If you know it, you know it. No matter how your machine tries to tweak it, or somebody's calling you up, waking you up in the middle of the night, and then they're asking you a particular question. You relying on the machine to get the answer at every point has not become like a very, very, I would say that's the point where you draw the line. You now have to bring yourself back to say, oh, I need to understand all of these things by myself rather than relying solely on everything that AI does for me. So us taking our time to still learn. I know AI makes it easy for us, it makes our work faster, but please, we still have this domain knowledge that we've had before. We can improve it. And something we can even do, we can use AI to train ourselves. So all of this information that AI is giving us, you read them, you understand them, you keep asking questions. That's you getting that knowledge for yourself and not just relying on the AI machine to give you the knowledge every time you need it. Right. So the bottom mark is if we get our foundation right, we have all of this domain knowledge, we keep improving in that knowledge, we keep enhancing it, we use this machine to even train ourselves, get more knowledge, right? You're not even in the UK, but they're asking you to test an application that exists there. There are things that this AI can do for you. It can fetch companies around it for you. It can just tell you how their lifestyle, their flows, and everything work out there. We can use that to train ourselves, get knowledge that we didn't even have before. So that's one thing that I would encourage us to do. I can't say we can eliminate it because it has already come and for it has come to stay. that's exactly how it's going to work. So, but we can train ourselves, yeah, and get better.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. So you guys, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, you can speak now. Okay, so maybe I'll just if there is any question. Okay, since there is no question, I would like to say thank you very much for Peter. Thank you for coming out here to speak to us about this wonderful topic. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Let us celebrate her by dropping our emojis, you know. Let's celebrate her. Hi guys, this is Yemi. Let's celebrate her. Thank you very much, Natasha. Thank you very much. Yeah, so this is the end of the session. Thanks for all the coming out and understand how crazy our good days can be as yes, we still turn up, we still turned up here to make sure that we go to our learning. Thank you so much everyone for joining. Thank you, Abasa, for that good session. Bye guys, and I wish you a very wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Bye.